Well, the poems that I should have brought tonight, I just found out this summer that are getting published at University of New York Albany's 13 New Press. So I should have brought those, but I didn't. Probably because they seem really old school to me, because I wrote them 5 years ago and then they finally got published. So they feel really foreign. So instead I brought some stuff from this fall, and I'm not really sure what to read. I'm experimenting with the prose poem, and you don't read it the same as you do a regular poem, I don't think. So I'm kind of torn between the prose poem and the short traditional poem that I wrote this fall. So
Read them both.
you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, maybe I'll read the traditional poem first because it's shorter. It's called I Remember. I think of you whenever I hear a train, the whistle blowing, tracks rattling, the way it breaks the silence like a hammer. I stop what I'm doing and I listen until it fades away. It's you calling from across the room or from a dream. I think of you because it's fall. Dry leaves rattled across the sidewalk when you first told me you loved me in a text message, shiny cute. Yesterday, fog rolled down through Spearfish Canyon, tendrils wrapping around spires stained with rain. And I thought of you. Could see your arm outstretched, pointing to him like you were reaching for the moon. The way the smell of pine surrounding me fills me with you, and I remember the first time I stood at the window of the cabin. The same lazy, thick fog rolling off the cliffs in the scent of you as you walked behind me. How it filled the air long after you'd left. And the way my sheets smelled, the way I couldn't change them for weeks, your cologne on my pillow. I remember when you last said you loved me, the way the words hung in the air only as long as breath against a cheek, as long as a single kiss, then vanished like they'd never even existed. Yet still leaving a trace, barely audible, the sound of a single pine cone hitting the ground, or the smell of a forest fire years after a hard burn. You look around, stumps charred, and you see grass under your feet. A teeny blade pushing up against the embers, and remember, there's life. The way you sound, I can almost hear it in a text, a word echoing your voice, the same numbness in my fingertips when I reach for the phone, the same feeling as when I first saw you, only it never wavers. And I remember what it's like to love you. For I can never forget that I remember. Okay, this prose poem is kind of inspired on a big, huge road trip that I took. I went from all over in South Dakota, Wyoming, Colorado, New Mexico, and it was kind of a Thelma and Louise kind of thing, except for no murder and suicide at the end. So I was really doing a lot of landscape comparison here, and this is called The Road to New Mexico Through South Dakota's Eyes. This is a prose poem, so I'm not sure how I'm going to read it, so I'm just going to read it like prose. I've always been South Dakota, even back as a child in Illinois, the humid air suffocating, stealing my breaths until I ran away to South Dakota, where I could hold cool air in my lungs without having to share it. That first time I leaned out of the car window, taking it in, not wanting it to escape my body, my roommate staring. We had to pull over. I had to stand in it, breathe in big lungfuls. Let it out slowly. I watched the pines from the ground up, laid on my back and gazed at them. The canopy fanning above, protecting me like sentinels, yet the music they made, the creaking of the boughs and the long silvery pine needles, how they were like a pianist's fingers tickling the keys. For I have always been South Dakota, the Black Hills. When you approach them from a distance, they're not ominous black, but omniscient silver. They pull you in with the love only a child has. Each mountain climbable, the granite cliffs you can trust, each bolt hammered into the rock will hold you in the ropes. It will not crumble, sending you to your death. And the people, they're like that too. Like the 5 hunters who pulled over and put my car up on a jack, changed my tire, wouldn't take the 10 spot I offered. No, wouldn't dream of it. They found it cute 2 girls didn't have a jack. People mirror the land they walk on. I am South Dakota. Trust me and I will take you in. South of me, The eastern front of Colorado is one big party. People with their arms outstretched to greet you like walking into a college backyard kegger. Everyone tosses you a cup, tourists laughing. Whitewater rafters sit at the bar with you and spin tales about the roaring Arkansas River, how at night you can hear voices in the water that you couldn't quite make out, like chords echoing in an empty recital hall. The Rockies are kin to South Dakota, their music the same, and they look at you sadly when you leave. As you glimpse out your rearview mirror heading south, they wonder, when are you going to come back again? I am the Black Hills. You say you are New Mexico, but you are not. You're somewhere between southern Colorado fading into the northern New Mexico sand. You've always been, and you always will. The road to perdition starts on 159 south of Walsenburg. The friendliness of Colorado dissipates. New Mexico's heat bakes it out of your skin, and you reach for another water bottle. No streams or rivers to jump in, and you're thirsty and alone. That's where I found you. Blanca Pass has no access through it. It's unapproachable, cold, beautiful, and when the sun shines off the snow, it's brilliant, but it hurts the eyes. There are no historical markers, no developers' graders parked on the hills to level out the land, no real estate signs. It says, stay away. There is no road through it, and there never will. Off the pass, the land doesn't welcome you because there are no trails, no elk, no deer, no pine. It's indifferent because it's like the moon, and its void comprises what we don't understand in ourselves. Then down the mountain on that stretch between San Luis and Costilla, a man could die in that desert of scrub and dwarf cedars, their branches gnarled like arthritic hams. No shadows of anything but your own body, no swayings of pine, and no music other than what's in your own mind. No shade that you can trust. Costilla, New Mexico had a school, a building. Next to it, a razor fence encircled. It would be the first thing a child would see from the playground, the razors and the sun reflecting off them. You would learn not to get too close to it, but you'd learn it the hard way. Outside Arroyo Hondo, I met a climber, the muscles on his arms tight like the rope in his hands, his body thin and tough like sinew. He said the mountains there were crumbly, that he watched his partner fall to death, the rock not holding his anchor, letting his body fall 10 stories. I want to climb those spires in the Black Hills. He said, they're safer, they'll hold you. Because that's really what counts in the end when you're climbing. The bolt we trust is in the rock, and the rock has to hold you. It protects you. The fact that the pines in the Black Hills cleanse you with every breath is a reminder of a friend who's got your back in the dark, a rainbow spontaneous like a jack vine, sprung up from the cracks in the rock, something that makes you wonder at its creation and the fact that you're still alive. I am the Black Hills. It's what I am. I'm the granite under your feet. I'm the pines who love because that's what they know. Shielding the elk under them, the buffalo resting in their shade. I am South Dakota.